Right now, Chase, Jeff, every single recruiter out there, whether they're running a brokerage or whether they're running a team or they're building a downline, they've been told, and it is the worst advice ever. Hopefully nobody cancels me or blacklists me again, but I mean, they've been told to build relationships. Have you guys heard that before from your higher ups? Just go out and build relationships, just, have a lot of conversations with agents and eventually they'll join you.
Okay. Now I'm interested. Yeah, keep going.
So if you've done that thus far, you probably got ghosted. You've probably been left on red. You probably had, and Chase, I know you're laughing there, but you probably had individuals, you're running and you're chasing. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather attract than chase. And the one thing that's really, really, really helped me do that is...
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real.
Hey, everybody, Jeff Sutherlin on the Jeff Sutherlin Show with my business partner, Chase Walder, and we brought a baller into this show today. This guy knows how to attract agents. Y'all know me. I've been doing business here in Phoenix for 25 years, building companies. I love attracting amazing people into my life and into my business. And so today I invited David Siena because I heard him speak a few weeks ago and I was like mesmerized by this guy. This guy was dropping like wisdom bombs all over the place about how to attract agents in 2025, 2026. That may be a little bit different than what you're used to seeing. And today I want to pick his brain and see what he's seeing, because he consults with companies around the country. He's all over North America, And so, David, dude, where are you from? And tell us about yourself, brother.
Jeff, that is such a good intro. I don't even know how. I got to keep this energy up the entire 30 minutes from what I'm understanding right now. But no, I appreciate both you and Chase having me on this call today. That was fun a couple weeks back. But I guess really how we got here today, and this is like high-level overview. I was running a brokerage, a failing market center, failing brokerage out of Canada. Within, the year I took over, we lost 87 agents. And within the following 20 months, we recruited just over 200 producing agents, not including newbies. So, after that 20-month spiel, I felt like there needed to be more, and I ended up moving to Arizona, where we didn't even cross paths. So I guess I wasn't doing my job good enough if I couldn't recruit you. But I ended up running a series and network of brokerages with some other great leaders, and we recruited between 35 to 50 agents a month, which was, obviously a lot of fun, and that led to a lot of curiosity. You came from Canada, some Canuck with an accent. How did you go from Canada crushing it there to moving over to Arizona and doing the exact same thing, just at a higher level? And that's when I started to get into consulting. That's when I realized that, it didn't matter so much for me about the company, but it mattered about the leader. And long story short, I left my company roughly, it would have been maybe 14, 15 months ago now. And now I'm in business with just over 52 brokerages across North America, like we mentioned. And last quarter, and I'm super proud of this, last quarter, the 52 companies that I'm in business with recruited just over 2,000 producing agents. So that's what we're bringing today. I have an open book for both Jeff and Chase today. So whatever you guys want to ask and dig into, I'm an open book. And the cool thing about that is every single brokerage leverage and utilize the exact same activities, which I love. So
first of all, dude, that t-shirt is boss. That's an Aussie shirt. That is legit.
Yes, sir.
So
some coaches have the suits on. I've got band tees. I got band tees.
That's awesome, man. Okay, tell us some of the trends you're seeing in recruiting and some of the tactics and methods that you use to attract great agents.
The biggest, where do we even start? I think the biggest thing needs to be our positioning. I think if you win the positioning battle, you will win the recruit and you will attract naturally. Right now, Chase, Jeff, every single recruiter out there, whether they're running a brokerage or whether they're running a team or they're building a downline, they've been told, and it is the worst advice ever. Hopefully, nobody cancels me or blacklists me again. But I mean, they've been told to build relationships. Have you guys heard that before from your higher ups? Just go out and build relationships. Just, have a lot of conversations with agents and eventually they'll join you.
Okay. Now I'm
Definitely.
interested. Yeah, keep going.
So if you've done that thus far, you probably got ghosted. You've probably been left on red. You probably had, and Chase, I know you're laughing there, but you probably had individuals, you're running and you're chasing. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather attract than chase. And the one thing that's really, really, really helped me do that is understand that we got to get away from being relationship builders and we need to be true challengers and consultants when it comes to attracting talent, right? You got to think about it. Every single company right now has a very similar value proposition. Just to throw some company names, especially in Arizona, I mean, you guys have Coldwell Bankers paying agents hundreds of thousands of dollars to join. You have Keller Williams, quote unquote, cat managing agents, years sometimes. You have Remax giving away years for 100% on 100 to 0 splits, waiving all desk fees. You even have EXPs, some EXP agents getting cat managed for up to a year. You have real agents doing the same thing, LPT. If I were to cover up the brands, you guys almost sound very, very similar. Fair, correct? To an extent.
To an extent.
What can we do? To an extent, obviously everybody has their unique value proposition, but if we're just going to try to recruit an agent solely off of splits, it's going to be difficult because everybody out there is selling better. I would argue and challenge you, in order to be the person who attracts agents and win the positioning battle, we need to get away from selling better. We need to start selling an opportunity, because every brokerage out there, and Jeff and Chase, you guys are building something pretty cool at EXP. You guys have a great agent community at EXP, right? You guys aren't selling, hey, we're a better company, we're a better community, we're a better collective. But when you are doing, which I've noticed the quick conversations having with you, is you're selling an opportunity. When you have a conversation with an agent, you're not just saying, hey, let's grab a coffee so I can learn more about your business. It really sounds like you're asking, hey, you're not hitting your full potential. What does that full potential look like? Why aren't you getting there? And if I was to solve this issue and offer you a guarantee, would you see value in that? I think that's the biggest positioning battle between you and everybody else. Because regardless of what company you're at, I truly believe that people are following the leader. They want to follow somebody, Jeff, who can help them get to where they need to go. And I think that's why, even within your own company, you're seeing agents join you and giving away 50% of their incomes, 50% of their splits, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much an agent grosses, it matters about how much they net. If I'd rather take a bite out of a watermelon all day long than to choke on a cherry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's over the evolution of my career, I've developed so much confidence talking to anybody in the marketplace, and I can ask them questions that are very direct, but kind, right? Because I like to challenge people because I truly want them to be successful. But that's actually where I usually start. Like a good recruiter, I think, doesn't start verbally vomiting all the benefits of the company. What I want to personally know is, what are your pain points? What's keeping you from growing your business 20% year over year? What's keeping you up at night? I've also noticed that agents have a hard time balancing this business. It's very difficult at times. They're very strung out. They're very stressed out. So, I'm a kind of a recruiter that I like to ask a lot of questions and do a pretty deep needs analysis. Now, you might call that building a relationship, because I actually I'm on a different page.
You know what, though? I think that the definition of relationship, and that's you understand that you're going to build a relationship when you challenge and when you push on buttons. Most people, when they hear relationship, it's do whatever Jeff wants. When Jeff asks a question, let's massage his shoulders. And I'm a firm believer that I'd rather have a leader be a bit of a chiropractor and adjust my spine into place rather than massage my shoulders, right? And I agree with that, because if you challenge, you're going to build a relationship.
Yeah, well, wow, that's cool, because we're on the same page. Because to me, that's not integrity, right? Integrity is being truthful with people, because there's a lot at stake. It's their family, right? I mean, I don't screw around when I'm coaching people, because I get right to the quick. Once I figure out what it is, I give them a recipe. And now do you have the courage to make a decision, right? You have a decision to make. Do you want to stay in your pain And if we're sitting here 12 months from now in the same position you are today, how's that going to look to you? Or are you willing to make a change? And we have solutions. And uh, in my platform, we have so many solutions, especially on the technology side. But it also helps because I've been doing this for 25 years. I've seen the up markets, I've seen the down markets, and being that I understand the human behavior behind it and why people get in these ruts, I can help them through just about any problem. So that's where I love engaging.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I almost feel like it is your duty, obligation, and responsibility to ensure that you are asking those tough questions to help somebody self realize at the end of the day the consequences of not making a move forward. I truly think that, and one of the best closing lines I've ever used ever has always been, what's your plan to solve XYZ issue if it's not with me? At the end of the day, and you just said, what trends are you seeing? I think if you own that positioning battle that we just talked about throughout the past 5 minutes, I know, and you know too, you're 99.9% ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And sorry, I know I was kind of out and for some reason having some technical difficulties, but um, you were talking about offering that guarantee. So if I missed that, sorry about that. But can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like offering the guarantee, right? Not just building relationships, but asking the tough questions, figuring out obviously what they have planned to kind of solve their own problems, right? But then offering that guarantee. What is something like that? What does that look like?
If I was to give you the full guarantee A to Z, I need to get you to sign an NDA. I swear on my life. It's actually out of Chase, it's out of ethics if I were to give you the full guarantee that my clients are paying for, but I'll give you a little bit. Deal? You can respect that. I would need to get you to sign an NDA of some sort. I hope you respect that, okay? However, though, Chase, is there always a guarantee? Like if I'm talking to Jeff, I see that Jeff is making, 200K. He's netting 200K a year, but he needs to get to 500 for his family, to get his kid into that private school, to get out of debt, XYZ reasons. There's obviously always a clear path for Jeff to get to where he needs to go, right? You guys have heard the saying before that the path is always in the math. Given the fact that the path is in the math, are there patterns and activities that Jeff can do every single day in order to hit his goal comfortably? Yes or no?
Yes.
Does it mean that there's two guarantees, Chase? There's one guarantee that Jeff joins me today. He does the activities. He plugs in on a day-to-day basis. He makes the calls, builds the database, does the, all the processes. Is there a guarantee that if he does exactly what I say, he's going to hit his goals?
Definitely.
Is there also a guarantee that if Jeff stays exactly where he's at, he's going to continue to make the 200K he's making. He's going to continue to be in debt. His kids are still going to continue to be, I'm shitting on you, Jeff, but you know what I mean by that. It's anybody.
Yeah.
There's always a guarantee. So when you start thinking about building guarantees out, I know I have my set guarantees that we can include in a contract, but at the end of the day, how can we build certainty out? How can we build certainty? And then how can we, and I almost look at it as like a mathematical equation, because that's the way my brain works. If I'm looking at an equation on the top denomination, I'm looking at certainty. On the bottom, I'm looking at how do we do it in the quickest amount of time with the least amount of pain. I'm trying to drive up certainty always. On the bottom denominator, I'm trying to make it as quick as possible with the least amount of pain, because that's what's going to drive Jeff. But that's only once I know his pain points, his gaps in his business, and I close them. I'm not giving an offer to anybody unless they're verbally committed to making a change. I don't care. And honestly, Jeff, I'm sure you're the same way. Jeff, I don't even care if you join my company. However, are you committed to at least making a move, changing your business, changing your ways?
Yep.
Yeah, I think
that's a good takeaway. Go ahead, Chase.
Yeah, I think that's great. I just wanted to make a comment. Yeah, that's good because obviously, you want to meet people halfway and they have to be bought in, right? I mean, why even have the conversation if they're not willing to? I mean, you can't do the work for them, you know what I mean? So I'm sure everybody has seen those people that talk how they want to make a change and then they don't actually do any of the work. So I like that.
Do you guys even want to be in business with somebody like that, though? I feel like every time we pick up the phone and call somebody or send an email out or do the activities, I'm pre-qualifying them. And that's the best. And then it goes back to the first point. We've only been talking about positioning for the past 14 minutes. I don't even know. I'm actually doing this agent a disservice by not reaching out to them because I know that I'm the, I don't know if I can swear, I'm the shit. I go into every call understanding like I'm pre-qualifying that person, not the other way around, right?
That's a mindset shift, I think, for a lot of people too, because they're thinking that they're, basically doing that, like the person is doing them a favor by even listening to what they have to say, but really it's the other way around, right? When you're, back to positioning, you are the one that has the avenue. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are potentially having an issue that you're here to help with. So having that mindset of, hey, they're not doing me a favor, I'm here to try to help them. That's, yeah, game changer.
I think you just hit the nail. I think we just solved the recruiting issue, eh, Jeff? Would you agree?
Yeah, here's the thing, man. There's people on their knees praying that somebody will call them and actually get them out of their misery because they're not being led. They're not being led and they have no understanding of how to do this business. And that's how I start my calls every day. I'm like, you know what? I think to myself, hey, people need me today. I'm going to help them. They're in a world of hurt. And if I can help their family, I'm going to do this. I'm going to step out of myself and I'm going to make calls that I'm absolutely afraid to do. Now I don't really have any fear because I've learned over the years, just trying to help you. So it's when you feel confident in your platform and what you have to offer, you have confidence in yourself and you can help somebody, that reframes everything. In fact, I've reframed lead generation over the years. I don't even call it lead generation. I call it loving people. And that's always how I've looked at it. If I love people deeper and I care for them, then everything else takes care of itself. You know what I mean?
That's a great reframe. And to take it one step further, and this is like, you might have heard me say it on the Corded call. Quick shout out to my peeps and my partners out at Corded. This is just mind blowing, by the way. So when we were on our original call, it would have been end of November across North America. So it was just under 40% of agents either left the industry or made a move. Nearly 40% of agents left the industry or made a move. Now, of that 40%, nearly 30% were doing over 3.5 million in volume. So producing agents are making moves. Take it a step further. Do you think that they were joining brands like platforms like yours? Or were, for the majority, they were going right to the discount brokerages? Then they know they just want to save a couple bucks. That's almost the heartbreaking part, is they're joining brokerages that are discount offices that have no vehicle help them get to where they need to go. They all know that they need to make more money, but instead of joining a platform like you guys have, for example, they can help them make more money, save more time, or have more opportunity. They're opting out to save a couple $100 each month.
Yep.
That's the real disservice that's happening right now.
Yep. Probably the biggest reason I'm an EXP, to be quite honest, David, is I get to hang around the very top in the industry. And because we share revenue, that's our playbook, right? Consciously trying to help other people. But I want to talk about Corded. You talked about, being able to consult with people and help them with their business and understand it. Well, we have a huge advantage. I'm a client of Corded as well. Before I even call anybody, I know everything about their business. Can you share a little bit, well, maybe a lot, because I know you know a lot about that system, all the things that we have at our disposal to know about that person before they even answer?
It is I would say that Corded is like having access to a Ferrari. And what I mean by that is I think whoever owns the data has all the power. Data is power. There's wars that are happening currently across the world strictly over data right now. And the fact that the platform Corded has agent analytics that are live, by the way, that are constantly being updated on agent production, whether or not their business is increasing or decreasing, the trends of how many pieces of contracts and pendings that they have under, on a month-to-month, week-to-week basis. How easy is it for us to see trends and to simply see who's more prone to making moves? Back in the day when we need to call every single agent on the MLS to say, hey, are you hitting your goals? Right. And we didn't know whether an agent was being truthful or not. And we would have to dig super deep.
Yep.
And now when we call an agent, for example, if I'm calling John Smith And then Corded makes it so easy because you can do filters and you can filter over statistics. I know, and I'm just giving out some free value right now. I know my top clients, they're only calling people that are down 25% or more in production year over year, who are doing over 5 million in volume at a minimum. So they're producing agents that haven't done a transaction in 60 to 90 days. I know that if somebody is doing 5 to 6 million in volume plus, they're down 25% or more, and they haven't done a transaction in 90 days, whether or not they tell me they're doing great or not, I know that they're not. I know
That's
that
right.
there's an easy opportunity. And I think Corden, I mean, listen, does a Ferrari have a million different types of gears that they can shift into and a million different types of things they can filter into? 100%. Same with Corded. What I love using the platform for is being hyper specific and finding lists of people that are more likely to make moves. If you know exactly what to say, when to say, how to say it, Corded is going to tell you who to say it to.
So how does somebody who's listening that wants to kind of get into recruiting or building a team or whatnot, how does somebody get access to Corey?
I mean, reach out to myself or somebody on the sales team. I'm sure we can link in somebody's number behind. But I mean, the first thing that I would even think about before even looking at recruiting is, what are you recruiting to? Like, what is your value proposition that you're going to recruit agents to? That'd be the first thing is are you a leader currently that somebody's going to follow? First and foremost, Chase. The second thing is, I think if you answer that first question, you're like, absolutely, I would follow me. I can help me get to where I need to go. Then the second is, hey, what are my actual goals for recruitment? And then getting on finding and doing like just even an intro call like I did, right? Nearly 100% of my clients are all using Corded right now. So they are not fishing in the dark. Or that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Throwing darts in the dark is a better analogy. At the end of the day, time's money. And if I could look at a list of people and see who's actually in pain and who's down year over year, I know it's going to make it that much easier, especially given the fact that they've listened to this podcast and they now know to be challengers rather than relationship builders.
So who's your perfect client, David?
Ooh, somebody who wants to win.
All
I
right.
think somebody who wants to win that takes extreme ownership. You know, my some of my top values are like dominance, grittiness, and overall integrity. Because at the end of the day, when you look at recruiting, it's not easy. But you do have, if you truly do have a good value proposition, you do have a duty, obligation, and responsibility to help somebody go to where they need to go. So, you know, that's my ideal client is a team owner or a rainmaker who has a hunger to help other people and to win. And what I mean by winning, just because winning means so much to so many different people, it's to level up and it's to get to where they need to go.
Yeah, you Canadians, man, you're winners.
I don't know if we all are winners, you know what I mean? I don't know about that, but I know that some of us are for sure. Some of us are gritty, especially when the temperature right now is in the negative. So you got to be a little bit gritty.
Yeah, no, I love Canada. Beautiful country, man. Beautiful. Good. And what else should I be asking you that I haven't asked, David? What else you want to talk about, dude? By the way, man, if you're watching, this is the Jeff Sutherlin Show. I'm hanging out with David Siena, my buddy Chase. This guy's a rock star. He helps people understand how to grow their business. And tell us a little bit more, David, about stuff you're working on. Anything else?
You know what? I think that truly, and I'm obsessed with sales, obviously, as you can tell, you know, the B2B sales game, especially with recruiting and obviously growing businesses out. I truly do believe, and this is just a message for people as we're heading into 2026 and as they're looking, because would you agree that great agents right now are reevaluating their businesses?
All over the place. Yep.
I think that what I'm seeing right now, and this is kind of a cry out for anybody who's listening to this right now, everybody, from what I'm understanding, is looking for a silver bullet. And what I'm seeing right now is the fact that the most successful businesses, you know, everybody's focused on, and can I say something super, super aggressive even, Chase, right now?
Please do. Please. We like aggressive.
I would almost argue that a lot of individuals, and when they're business planning, they're so focused on like AI right now. They're so focused on this shiny bullets, but they're lacking RI. They're lacking real intelligence.
Tell it.
Real intelligence. Because at the end of the day, what I would challenge agents as they're reevaluating their business partners, where they need to go, who they need to be with, and what they're going to do on a day-to-day basis. I think that everything's already tried and true. And at the end of the day, who's in their ecosystem that they could reach out to, they can help them go where they need to go.
So basically everything, basically it's the fundamentals you're saying, and then a lot of people,
I
then a lot,
I think you boiled it down perfectly. Get back to the basics. You
Yeah.
know, at the end of the day, what are the couple things that we're going to do every single day in order to play big?
and the discipline,
Yeah.
discipline to do it every single damn day.
Well, you know what? And I want to give a really quick. I honestly don't coach very many agents just because that's not something that excites me. You know, I really love the brokerage or the recruiting side of it, right? But I do coach one agent. She had a fantastic story. Her business is up 35% year over year. But the reason why I'm saying this story is one of the things I thought was brilliant was going deep on her business plan last year in 2024. When she planned for 2025, she wasn't thinking big, but she was thinking really deep. And what I mean by that is instead of doing a million different things, she really just focused on one and went extremely deep on that end. So Chase, to your saying, yeah, get back to the basics and how deep can we really go to get there?
Yeah. You know, it's funny, David. I've seen some pretty, pretty catastrophic markets. 2006 was really bad. 2009 was really bad. The last 2 years, as far as affordability, it's been really bad. But you know what's interesting? Chase and I have excelled and we've thrived. It's like I've had some of the best years of my career. And, I looked at Chase, how disciplined he is, how he gets in the seat every day. He makes calls, he writes notes, he does open houses every weekend. It's no different in recruiting. It's no different in anything you do in life. You have to get dirty. And you know what? There's nothing glamorous about it. You keep doing the same thing day in, day in, day in, day in, day out. And honestly, that's why you rarely see people that go to the top of the game and stay there for a long time because they just lack the discipline to do it every day because it's not always fun. I shot a Facebook thing out last night about something I learned years ago is a book called Grow a Pair by a guy named Larry Wingett. It was a great book. And he said, everybody thinks you're so happy when you're giving a presentation on the stage and you're all that. And they don't see all the suffering and sacrifice that it took to get to that stage. They don't know that 95% of the time that your job sucks. And the 5% of the time you get to go on stage and that's fun. But all the rest of it's hard. You're on planes, you're not sleeping, you're preparing. It's like that's the stuff that you got to get dirty and you got to embrace the grind, and that's something that Chase and I do. We embrace the grind.
You know what? What a blessing it is that we chose this.
Yes.
The grind. I mean, you know what I think about often is that guy working at 7-Eleven works way harder than we do. And that guy's capped. Works a million. How blessed is it that we just have to pick up the phones, have conversations, and help people? Like that's just a quick reframe, but I think about that often.
Oh, you're so right. Chase, tell them what you did prior to this.
Everybody, I used to work in the construction industry. So everybody I talked to, I literally was having a conversation earlier today and I'm like, man, this sure beats being on a construction site for 12 to 14 hours every single day. You know what I mean? Picking up the phone, making phone calls, touching base. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, we chose this, right? And I love the fact that you guys are both embracing it. I mean, we're a couple of days away from Christmas, and we're doing a podcast together. This is separation season.
That's fast. Yeah. This one would pull it.
Yeah. You know what else is great is there's people that are sitting at their desk right now in companies wondering if they're going to get the hatchet, right? That saddens me, right? And they have no control over that. And I always tell everybody I'd coach is like, listen, every single day you have the opportunity in this industry to go out and make more money for your family and succeed at a higher level. You are not at the whim of some decision maker, some bean counter on a spreadsheet. This is your life. We have control over our life. And I always tell people, see, now you got me going. You want to talk about freedom? I'll tell you what freedom is. Freedom is knowing that you've owned everything in your life up to this point, that every decision you've made has led you to this point. Now, I've had people say to me, well, Jeff, what about if people were abused? 100%. That's a horrible thing, right? But we still own all of our reactions in our life after a tragedy. And when we get to the point where we have complete ownership of our thoughts, right? That's freedom, knowing that we don't have to be a victim. We can be a victor. You know what I'm saying?
Can I read out something out to you that I posted on Facebook and LinkedIn yesterday?
Yeah, sure.
If you're going to draw a straight line from your childhood to your flaws, you have to trace the same link back to your strengths. You don't get to blame your parents for the parts of you that are inconvenient while taking full credit for the parts that work. Your intolerance for mediocrity, that ability to send pressure longer than most people, the ability to do all of the hard things you do, that didn't come from nowhere. Are you just assigning blame, or are you taking responsibility and ownership over everything? You can't give your parents credit for what made you strong. Don't make them the villain for what made you sharp.
That's pretty
You
compelling.
just said the exact same thing though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. I believe that with my whole heart, when you get to that point. But I think it takes a long time for people to get to that place in their life because we all have baggage. I just got done with an NLP class, neuro linguistic programming,
Love it.
and the power of the subconscious mind. Because our mind can only take 126 bits per second, but 2 million bits per second hit our mind every
Yeah.
second. But it's our subconscious mind that's always running with all these programs that we've had over the course of our life, sometimes from childhood. And that's what's keeping us from actually moving forward. We have these limited thoughts. We don't even know they're going on, right? It's our relationship with money. It's that we're afraid of success. We sabotage ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, David, we could talk all day, man. I can tell you're vibing on this.
We were talking 20 minutes before the podcast even started. We could have been rolling from there.
Well, Chase, you got anything else for my man David right now?
I don't think so, man. I sure appreciate it, man. It was a lot of good stuff. I'm excited to listen to it back, and it was great to connect and all the knowledge, man. I got a list full of notes here that I'm gonna take and go run with, man. So I appreciate it, and it was great to finally meet you, man.
Chase, Jeff, this was
I'm so glad you're here. I'll give you the last word, David. Anything else you want to say to our audience, man? You're a guy, man. You're a vibe. You give me a good energy. So give me something good.
I wish you know what? I'll leave it with you. Like, confidence is a prerequisite for success at the end of the day, and confidence comes from God. So, repent, believe in the gospel, and just put your life in Christ, and we'll be good.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. Now you're speaking our language.
That's it.
I guess that gives me a lot of excitement to know we're going to end it on that note, because everything we have is from the Lord. I'm so proud to know that. I'm so excited to know that about you, David. And again, if you guys want a good consultant, is somebody that really truly knows how to take you to the next level. I've really enjoyed getting to know David, and I've been in classes of his. He's fantastic. So how do people get a hold of you, David?
You know what? My email is david@scalewsina.com, and my social medias are just David Siena, DavidSiena.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
And my friends, thank you, David. If you ever want to watch this show, just go to the Jeff Sutherlin Show. We bring on leaders like this throughout the country, and keep us in mind. Me and Chase work the Phoenix market. I've been doing this 25 years. Chase is crushing it right now. We're having a lot of really talented people join our organization right now. And I would really love to have the chance to talk to you and see how I can support you and your family. So with that being said, have a blessed Christmas. If you get this after Christmas, have an amazing New Year. Talk to everybody soon.
Ciao, guys.